Hi, sixth graders. I'm going to be going through the Quick Check 1.2 with you right now so you can know how you did it, how you did on it. All right. So question one, a teacher puts 50 milliliters of water into a graduated cylinder. He places a 45-gram rock into the cylinder. The water rises to 65 milliliters. Find the volume of the rock, then use this information to find the density. Okay, so the first thing we're going to be finding is the volume of the rock. Okay, so we know that we start with 50 milliliters and the water rises to 65 milliliters. So to find the volume of the rock, we just look and see how much the water rose. That's called water displacement. Okay, so if we started at 50 and rose to 65, we know the volume is going to be 15 milliliters. So I would jot that down on my paper. Okay, then we know that the mass right here is 45 grams. Okay, and to find density is mass divided by volume. So I can pull out my calculator here. And we said the mass is 45 grams. And the volume we said was 15 milliliters, or 15 centimeters cubed. So we divide that by 15. And our answer is 3. And notice on here the units are already on here, so you wouldn't need to write those in here. If the units were not on there, you would want to add that in. Okay. Question 2, what is an example of a physical property? So remember, physical properties are properties that can be observed or measured without changing the identity of the substance. Okay, so flammability is not a physical property because I would have to light something on fire to see if it was flammable. Density is a physical property. Okay, I can test the density, I can find the density without changing what the object is. Reactivity is a chemical property because if I want to know if something can react, I actually have to make it react and it could change it. And paper burning is a chemical example. Burning is always a chemical change, which is an example of a chemical property. So again, the opposite. Okay, so melting point, I can test a melting point. I can take an ice cube and melt it and see what temperature it melts at without changing what it is. Flammability, if I want to test if it's flammable, I have to actually light it on fire. Density, I can find the density without changing what it is. And the luster, I can also find the luster of something without changing what it is. Luster is just if it's kind of shiny or not. Okay, so remember, a chemical property is a substance's ability to change into a new substance. So if we're going to change it into a new substance, we're seeing if it's flammable. This one we are finding the definition. So anything that has mass and takes up space, that is what the definition of matter. A substance's ability to change into a new substance, we just talked about that one, that's a chemical property. The amount of space an object occupies is its volume. A characteristic of a substance that can be measured by observing the substance without changing its identity. And so without changing its identity, that tells us it's a physical property. And then the amount of mass in a given volume is the density.